I guess I'll be your host for this evening. My name's Ed Rollo. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a DJ, I'm a music maker, I'm an Ableton certified trainer, and I also work with Ableton as a product specialist as part of the APAC team. Product specialist just means that I take care of educators, other certified trainers, and artists around South and Southeast Asia, which is mainly my region. Some of you know, I was based in Hong Kong for about 10 years, but I've been back in Sydney for about a year now after the world just went to shit. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I want to start just by thanking Marty and Gemma for putting this on and for having us down here, and the Knox Street Bar crew. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure. Small and intimate crew, so it's going to be fun. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about sketching ideas and how we might develop them into like full songs. I guess it's probably one of the most challenging aspects of making music is taking those tracks all the way to the end. I don't know if we can cover everything tonight because it's a lot to learn and it takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication, a lot of things that I think people aren't really willing to do. So we kind of consistently search for new ways to inspire us to sort of take that whole leap and get across the finish line. But I wanted to start with like a question as to who here struggles with finishing music. Well, you had to think about it for a minute there. Yeah, so all of us, right? And then I kind of wanted to sort of follow up with that was like, why? Does anyone have some like just open discussion? It's a small group. I could probably put the mic away, but
Marty, it doesn't help that you heard the thing a lot and you sort of get sick of it and you lose perspective and it makes it a bit difficult to finish because of that.
Totally, yeah, like almost like fatiguing your idea. Anyone else? Yeah.
It's like trying to get that last phrase or that last EQ right, or something always seems to need to be filled with.
Like perfectionism, I guess,
Yeah.
is what you're getting at.
Yeah, or just also like I'm so close to finishing a piece now. I've just got to fix up the bass because every time I change the kick, every time I change the kick it doesn't work. Every time I change part of the bass it doesn't work. And I just want to get those two things sorted. And I think it's just, now that I've learned a lot more about EQing and balancing things, it takes me a lot more effort to get all that sorted too, which, I mean, I'm glad to be able to do it, but it's just...
Yeah.
It's like Marty was saying, you have to, like, hearing it over and over again.
Yeah, it's like potentially overthinking it, overanalyzing, yeah, thinking like obsessing over it until you just kind of work it into the ground and like go down that rabbit hole.
I get to the point where I just want it done, but I can't. It's not.
Yeah, for sure. There was one more, I think.
Yeah, it's more fun to start.
100%. Yeah. When I was thinking about this demo and I was going through, I actually, it's quite funny. I wrote this demo about 3 different ways because I felt like there was a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. And I was overthinking, overanalyzing. I just went down my own little rabbit hole. But I think I wrote like an amazing 60-minute presentation that I'd love to give one day, which is awesome. But I was thinking about exactly that. The sort of like it's really fun to start, and it's like the honeymoon phase almost of making music, when you just like starting and you sort of sketch out a basic idea. That's when kind of the magic is happening in the moment, where you have like a little bass line or a little arpeggiator, a funky groove or something. But then it brought me to another point, and I'll just say this quickly, but I said this one time. Some of you know I'm quite active on YouTube and I make a lot of videos which tackle the struggles that I face as a music maker, and I believe other people struggle with them too. And one of the things we were talking about was about art and work. And I was thinking about, because I'm a big fan of the War of Art, and now they talk a lot about focusing on the work and there's this balance between art and work. And I was thinking that like art is like that fun time, like when you're just starting ideas, like It's the idea generators, and that's where art begins, like where ideas start. And then it just turns into work, I feel like, when you take it that next step further and like flesh it out into being something substantial. And I'm still not quite convinced when I wrote it in a comment, like it's like that art is where ideas start and then it just turns into work. Would anyone else kind of relate to that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I mean, you're using your like analytical side of your brain in the after work, and it's like it's not really coming from the same place.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Yeah, I think like I like hardware and improv. I think in the beginning it's kind of more like you're improving. You're just kind of getting stuff out there. It's kind of free flowing, but then all of a sudden when you're thinking about okay, how is this balancing with that? You're just turning off the creative and going to the analytical, which can be restricting.
absolutely. That's a really it sort of changed my thinking a little bit, and I followed up with that, which felt tough, but that art is easy and work is hard. And then that is something that I reflect on a lot. And it's like those initial stages is that like artistic side, and the sort of like that means it's so accessible to anyone. Anyone can be an artist, it's not hard. But the work is hard, which is where art ends up. Maybe I'm not articulating that perfectly yet because I'm still kind of developing that idea for myself, but anyway, there's some food for thought for some of you, I guess, because I've been thinking about that a lot lately. So it brings me to my next point, which is about a live stream that I was watching of my favorite producer, and I've been following this guy for like 15 years, been listening to his music, I've been playing his songs on my DJ sets, and then I saw a very rare live stream of him doing a music production masterclass, and he was making a track from start to finish in the class. I mean, he didn't really finish it, but he was like, all right, let's start a track. And so he opened up Ableton Live, and then he just had a kick drum in there, and that's all it was. It was a kick drum that went for like 8 to 9 minutes, because that was like his template. I know I need a kick, I know it's got to be about this long, and that's kind of where his idea started. And as he was progressing, he like dragged in a snare, and then he put in some hi-hats and then percussion loops, and then he got some sort of basic melodic idea down with a bass line and a few other elements. But it sounded pretty raw and pretty rough. And here I was, my biggest, like I love this guy's music, and I'm watching him feeling relatively uninspired because I was just like, yeah, okay, I reckon I could do that. It's not that hard. And then he stopped and he acknowledged it, which I thought was really, really cool. And he just went, you know what, we have to start somewhere. It sounds pretty rough at the moment, but this is where it starts and this is where it happens. I just thought that was really cool to hear it from someone that I admire so much, and to watch his process and him acknowledge that those initial stages of making music don't have to be brilliant, that they could just be simple kind of ideas, and then that can be developed over time. So that was like a huge amount of encouragement. I don't think I've ever really forgotten that moment. I kind of forgot everything else that he said in the live stream, except for that like couple of little seconds where he just said, we have to start somewhere. Which is a brilliant segue into sketching ideas and kind of what we're all here for today. Those initial stages of making music, as scary as that can be for some. This is something that I don't necessarily struggle with so much, but I know a lot of people do. I've taught a lot of people over the years, and some people's biggest fear is the blank canvas. Does anyone else have that kind of fear?
I do at the moment. I haven't ever had that before.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing instead is going to my tracks and then using all the sounds that I've already selected.
Totally.
Maybe some of the drum patterns, and then starting like changing BPM, maybe changing the key. But the idea of starting up a new session, I just can't at the moment, even though I've never had that before. It's just at the moment I just can't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share on that? The blank canvas.
The blank melodic canvas.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get the drums and the bass, just sort of like nice groove, and then it's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna put the meat in the sandwich, and it's like that's not hard.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
didn't used to be my problem at all. Like listening to my like old music when I made psytrance, and it was very melodic, and that was just all that I was all about. And like I don't know, my like fear of psytrance has like led me to be afraid of melodies.
I think when I've approached a lot of like starting ideas, I could start them really easily. And obviously, finishing is hard because it's not as fun. It's satisfying when you do, but those initial kind of like sketches or ideas I used to be just, they would be in any direction. It would be just random beats and random sounds and everything. So more on a personal level, lately I've been taking the approach of being more disciplined and focusing and trying to direct it towards like, hey, this is the music I really want to make. So it's like you have to sort of challenge yourself to not just go, oh, I was going to make whatever I feel like today. It's fun that way, but also can be a little bit hard to progress because every day you're rocking up doing something different. It's like sort of just going to the gym and just trying everything that you have in the gym, whereas you maybe want to focus on specific areas. Anyway, that's enough of the philosophical side of things. Let's maybe get into the exciting part. So some of you may have known that Ableton recently dropped a new product, which is Ableton Note. And as a self-confessed, not really an app guy, and with my involvement with Ableton, Tom here as well, who works at Ableton, I was kind of forced to get to know Note and get to sort of learn more about it. And it's been a really fun kind of journey and really exciting, just kind of having to force myself to make music using an app. Not that I was like not enjoying the process, but what I did find from that was that I would just get lost in it straight away. And I'm not trying to just blow smoke up this product's, anyway. But what I'm trying to say is that I actually enjoyed the process a lot more than I thought I would, because I've downloaded music apps in the past and just kind of have them there. But this was just a nice, like, exciting moment for me to kind of challenge my creativity in a different way. And the kind of journey that we took as well, we did like beat battles together, and each week we'd like reflect on them, we'd send samples to each other. It was a whole lot of fun. And it's kind of exciting to be able to do this today. It's kind of the first of its time. I hope everything goes smoothly, and I really hope you guys enjoy. What I'm going to do is just like sketch up a basic idea and see if we can take that a bit further and develop that, and talk a little bit about how we might take an initial sketch and flesh that out into being a full finished track. So what I'd like to do is open up Note. Let's just do it. Oh dear. I think I just need to reconnect real quick. We've got a bit of a daisy chain of projections going on here. 1990, oh, they've got my birthday up there. Turn 40 next month. It's all slipping away.
It's not so bad to happen.
Hey, it worked. Fantastic. Okay, so this is Ableton Note. Let me see if we have some sound here.
Should do.
Yet 1 second. I think I need to just unplug and replug. Sweet. Is the sub on just my question?
You can, yeah, there's no filtering or anything. Do you want to turn your phone up a little bit, Ed, or is it
Let's
already
try.
maxed out?
There might be the game.
Yeah, we did a test just before.
Yeah, wasn't that noisy before?
Let's try one more time.
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah.
That's a sound we're familiar with. All right, rock and roll. So let's go back to square one. Who here's seen Ableton Note? Saw the release?
Yo.
Yeah, most people here. A couple people haven't. Awesome. So it's an app for iOS devices, and
Android.
that was the first question. Does it work for Android? Look, I believe that there's a few things that people have been making noise about, and a lot of it's just come down to getting it out there to the public. There's a lot of things, a lot of features I would have liked to add, would have added years to the development. So I believe there's a lot more things coming for Note with updates and stuff in the future. But yeah, so Ableton Note is, I'm just going to sketch up an idea and I'll just talk you through the process as I go. And if we have questions, just shout them out, it's totally cool. But I'm just going to kind of have a little bit of fun with this and get in the zone. So what I have here is just 3 tracks to begin with. Little squares at the top there, show that I've got a little drum rack. We have an 808 in here to begin with. We've got a whole selection of different kits in here that we can choose from. The system sounds great. I'm going to stick with the 808 because I love it, it's familiar and we all know it. And let's just get a basic kick down. Cool. So what I did is just tapped in a kick and then used the capture feature to lay down that idea, and then I quantized it. That all happened in about 3 seconds. And now I'm just going to tweak this a little bit, change the sound a bit. Just tightening up that kick so it's not so boomy. So like a nice tight kick. Someone asked this before about the tempo. Let's have a look at the BPM. We're at 116. Some of us here are hungover, so I'm just going to bring this down even further. Maybe 114, nice even number. Let's get something else in here. Sweet. You see that every time I press something, kind of gives me an indication of what I pressed, and then I can add it if I want to, or I can clear it because I didn't like it. I'm just going to leave it there actually, just keep it nice and simple.
Hey Ed, just wondering,
Yeah.
how do you when you're changing the effects, and then the line, like the dotted line goes over the. When I've been working with the app, it's like been capturing all of that, automation stuff,
Yeah.
but I didn't really want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so when we have the various parameters that we can tweak, we can change the overall sample. We have some kind of global controls for the sample itself. Then we have some effects for each pad, which is just a send effect. So we've got 2 send effects. Essentially, you can see these like send and returns. They're not individual effects for each pad. It's the one effect that you can apply to each pad. And then we have a global kit effect as well. And what Gemma was asking there was about automating one of these values. So for instance, if we were to say automate the decay, say, of this kick. And then I can add that in. Very unfortunate positioning there, right in the middle of the kick drum. Now, if I didn't like that, because we've got this nasty click in the middle of my kick drum where I'm adjusting the decay very suddenly, just click on the decay, and then we can delete it. And then we're kind of back to square one.
So you click on the knob.
So we're clicking on the actual parameter itself. Where we can go back. So we've got a little dot next to the dial. And then up above it says decay, so I'm just clicking on decay.
Okay, cool.
Oh, it's already up, yeah. So we're going to delete that. Get rid of that automation. Let's tighten up that kick again. Awesome. So I'm just going to go back, select track number 2. And here we have an instrument. This is a bass sound, sounds like. Tubular bass, that says. I should really have my glasses on. Alright, so I'm going to select a different bass sound because I think I could find something a little bit more interesting. I was using one the other day. It's called like bounce bass or something. This one. Yeah. Super dark. Got loads of delay on this, which Ableton love to do. So let's just bring that. And let's bring the filter down a little bit. The kick drum likes it up there. All right, I'm liking that. And what we're going to do is go up into the settings, and I'm just going to adjust the key and the scale. So we're going to select D because it's the saddest of all keys. And we're going to go minor. Let's go harmonic minor. I've been really loving this scale lately, which gives a nice kind of flair.
Could you show us where you found the scales?
Oh, sorry, yeah. So we just went up into the set settings, which is the top right-hand corner. And so we have the tempo up here. We also have a metronome, but key and scale. It's nice we get a little preview here.
Oh, nice.
So we just go minor. It's a bit tough on a bass sound, but where were we before? We had this harmonic. There's so many in here, which is great. Harmonic minor. Lovely. Down. Done. And some of you might recognize these pads. The layout is very similar to the push in the way.
Could you explain what the different shaded colours of the pads mean?
Well, yeah, so we've got octaves here, which are displayed in, let's call that light grey. And then we've got the scale, which is in the dark grey. If we were to come out of scale mode, let's turn the scale off, go back in here. Now this is a bit more kind of traditional push-like. If anyone's familiar with that layout. Now what's really great about this actually, if you're not so confident with that, is we can go in here and we've got a traditional keyboard as well, so we can, which believe it or not, I'm not that confident with. I feel much more comfortable playing the push pads, strangely enough. So we're going to go back in here, we're going to turn the scale on, we're going to go over to the harmonic minor. I think that was already selected. Horizontal? No, it doesn't.
Are you able to do? I know you wouldn't. Maybe you wouldn't do it.
Oh, yes,
Can
now
you
it
do
just,
multiple pads at once, or is it just one at a time? I've
Oh,
noticed
it's polyphonic.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
depending on the sound that you're using. Yeah, we can do polyphonic for sure. Let's go back to pads, and let's get something in here. So I've just pressed play down the bottom right hand corner. Okay.
So did it automatically change the length because you held the notes down longer?
I held the notes down as I was playing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it just
Nice. So I've got this little idea in here. Nice.
I mean, I'm sorry, like the measure of it. Like this one is longer than 4 beats now, right?
Yeah.
It's
So
because you held it down longer, it extended the actual measure.
yeah, I'm not sure if you saw as I was recording it in. We could do it again if you like too. Almost like it thought I was just going to play a basic 4-bar pattern, but then as I kept playing,
It lets you go.
it just kind of lets you go out.
That's nice.
There's like an intuitiveness that's going on. It's kind of trying to predict what you're trying to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice just to get good with capturing that idea. Because sometimes if you just sort of let it go and capture, you might have your idea and then a whole bunch of blank material, and you've got to kind of go in and edit that. But let's try it again, so just so everyone can see that nice and clearly. I'll just go back. So we've just kind of undone what we just did there. Let's try again. I've started somewhere in the middle there. Let's go back and try it one more time. Whoa. And my playing's a bit sloppy, so quantize. Really bad. So this is kind of good actually. This is a good example. I'm just going to bring that filter down a little bit because I think I just brought the velocities up too much. Let's open up the clip view here so we can see my playing. And this note is just a little bit off. So I've just selected this note and we can see, I don't know if you can see that, but it's just not quite on the start. You can definitely hear it. So what I'm going to do is we've got quantize on. Quantization is it's set to nothing at the moment. So let's set it to 16. And then let's try quantizing that. See what happens. Nothing. So let's go back in here. It must be selected on the 16th, but it's just one off. So I'm just going to nudge it that way. So now it's bang on the note. You can see here we've got a couple of clips which we're starting to build up, which is nice to see, but we're going to go over to our third track and lay down another melodic idea on top of this. So this has just given us a blank sampler, and I'm going to get into this in a minute. What I'm going to do first though is just select basic sound. Let's go into our presets here. Now I'm thinking some like synth keys. There was a sound in here. Wait on. It's marimba. This one, just something about it. I don't know, sometimes when you hear a sound, you're just inspired straight away, and that's what this one does for me. If I can just play anything right now, it's going to sound good. Bring this down just a little bit. Okay, I captured it. All right, let's go with that. All right, that sounds great, actually. Let's go into the clip view because I was messing around with this yesterday and I had a lot of fun doing this. So there's no sequencer in this, which is, would be a nice feature, right? And you could like select the notes in there and you could have a lot of fun that way. But I kind of figured out that you could do that in a way just by inputting random notes and then nudging them around and just having fun that way. Because you may not nail it straight away, but it's easier than it may seem. So let's have a little play around and see if we can add in a couple more notes in here. Okay, let's add them all in there. Not even thinking about it, I'm just playing random notes. And there's a few double ups. There was maybe just one. This one here maybe, so let's just like nudge it around. Let's maybe put it over there. maybe transpose that down. I feel like that needs to go down. So let's go bam, 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 bam. Let's bring you down there somewhere. Maybe even shift you across. Still not happy? Let's go up a note.
Just delete it.
Fine.
Sometimes less is more.
Sometimes less is more. Cool, I like it. Now let's add some effects. Little bit of reverb. Let's go some delay as well, of course. Let's go back to that automation and let's do a little bit of filter cutoff automation. Classic trick. Cool. Let's add that. Very nice. Okay, everyone digging this so far?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, I'm having fun. So let's go. I'm going to add another track here. So sorry, I'm doing this really quickly because I just get excited. So we scroll across here. We can add in more tracks, and we can have up to 8 of them at a time, which is kind of nice to have these limitations. Now this is just selected a random instrument for me, which is this clav harmonium, but I really want to add in some percussion. So I'm going to go into presets here. Let's go down to drums, some acoustic. There's a really nice kit in here named Spirit Percussion Kit. Oh, it's got all the classics in there. Okay. Okay, now this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use 2 hands for this, and I'm just going to play random stuff. I'm not thinking about this at all, and hopefully it sounds good. Now I've got this little curly bar at the front here where my playing's just a little bit sloppy. So let's select this guy and just delete it. Now I've got a really weird 7-bar loop, so maybe we should tidy this up. Kind of like I did some stuff at the end there, so I think I'm just going to select this first bar and delete that as well. Now I've got a 6-bar loop. That's okay. We can keep that. Playing stuff, quantizing it, can have a lot of expression with this. And I'm actually just going to do the same thing we did with the marimba sound and just add in a couple more notes. Just random stuff. Let's see what happens. In fact, let's do something silly. Okay. Oh, did I just clear that? Wow, what did I just do? I was being too playful. Let's go one more time. I keep clearing it. Let's add it. Cool. All right, it seems crazy, but let's quantize that. And what I'm going to do here is just delete these guys. So we've got just this one. That looks pretty good. Everything's quantized. Cool, sounds terrible, but let's go into the kit here. Let's open this up. All right, let's select everything here. Okay, I'm going to drag all this around here. Loop here, and I'm going to go into my velocities. So this is where we can adjust the velocities of everything. And what's nice about this is that we can just do a little dance. Let's try that. Gets a bit crazy in the middle there. Need like some side chaining. Let's try that. It's getting there. Let's try some delay. Okay, now it's still a bit in your face, so I'm just going to go over to my mixer section and bring the volume of this down. Whoa, we can adjust some other things. All right, so we're building up something here. What we might do is duplicate this. So we've got a whole of the scene here, and then I might evolve this a little bit, just build up these drums. Actually, for this, we can do something really cool. Let's go into the side panel here where I can select repeat. Let's do some repeated notes. We'll do 16ths. And let's do some single pad action. So for this, let's select maybe like a shaker. Off. Classic. Get rid of it. All right.
Ed,
Yes.
can you explain the difference between the single pad mode and the pad? It looked to me, because I can't exactly see what you're doing. It looked like you were moving your finger up and down. Is that controlling velocity?
Totally. Yeah.
Sick.
I didn't explain that at all, did I? You guys know what I'm doing. Yeah, so there's a single pad here. If you can look really closely on there, there's a plus and a minus. There's a minus at the bottom, there's a plus at the top. And so as you move your, let's put repeat on, because it kind of works best with that. And as if we move, so it's a really nice expressive pad. Maybe not for a tom, but yeah, even like a little rim tap. Really nice. Actually, that would be really good on the percussion, like just that little percussive layer, which I was trying to accomplish there by putting a little side chain in there. But yeah, very nice to have the option to have the push pads, a single pad, and also the keys option too. When we're in some melodic content, let's go into that same view. We've got the keys here. Now we're filtered to a scale, but this is the traditional layout we're used to. So quite nice if you're more used to that kind of view. Obviously really nice on an iPad too. Let's turn that back on though. All right, I think I'm getting close to done. Let's add one more thing. We've got some drums, we've got 2 layers, we've got some bass, we've got a nice melodic pluck thing, we've got some really sweet percussion. This last one here, let's go to the sampler. So we scroll down our presets here. So sampler is a preset. And this is saying that we can load a sample. So we have a few different options here. We can load in a voice memo. We could just record it on our phone and load it that way. Or we could, I've got a couple of things in here I was experimenting with. I had a cello sound in there and a pan drum. And just airdrop them to my phone, load them in there. Although the pan drum thing didn't work out very well because it just sounded, it's like the same sample over and over again. But you can also record your own ones, which is way more fun. So I might just leave the phone there and bow down and record something into my phone. That's going to record the room too, but that's okay. Oh yeah, I got to find the right pitch. That'll do. Cool. What have we got here? Big, nice, messy waveform, but let's just scroll in a little bit here. Let's move it over. I think I found somewhere around the note towards the end here. And all right, sounds terrible. Let's see if we can change a few of these things. Let's go in here. I've got a little kick drum in there too, which is nice. Let's get some effects on this before we go any further. Now this reverb tail, let's bring that down a little bit. Let's also tweak things like the decay time here. Let's bring this down a little bit. Obviously in a slightly more controlled environment, this would work out quite well. Let's find a nice juicy bit. There we go.
Can you put loop points in?
Say that again.
Can you put loop points in?
Loop.
Loop points, so it sustains?
I don't believe so, no. As in, to have it circle around itself?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Ah,
So
I see what you're saying.
Note, you can just hover on the note, and then when you hold down a pad, it will just keep playing.
Like to loop on it? I don't think you can. Tom, what do you...
I don't think so.
No.
Makes it cool. See you next time.
Yeah, so I mean, with the sort of live sampling, I would say, there's a few cool ways you can do it. So, for instance, I used the cello sample there, which I think is still on here, which I could load in maybe a little bit later. And it was a loop, and so and it was like 121 BPM, and there's no warping in this app, so time stretching and getting things to sort of lock in with the grid is a challenge. But if you kind of know the tempo that it's at, you can set your project tempo to the same, and then just put like one note in and sustain it for a long time, and it will play through the entire sample and just quantizing it. But yeah, to build your own synthesizer out of the sample and hear like a full-on simpler, no.
I can see them bringing that in, Tom. Yeah. It seems like there's a lot of features that wouldn't be too hard to implement ultimately.
I think what we found when we were messing around with this, like especially if you, because it'll repitch a sample if you're using the sampler. If you bring it in, you can bring in samples on a drum rack as well. and that'll play the unpitched sample. So like if you don't know your root note or something like that, you can just like play it at the tempo it was recorded, at the pitch it was recorded, by bringing the sample on a drum rack instead of the sampler.
Okay.
So let's just go with it. I reckon we might need to pitch it a little bit, but let's see. Let's do that after the fact. Sounds pretty close. Thank you. All right, so we're not quite done yet. This is our main sets view. So you can see you've got a couple of sets up there in this fancy new thing called Ableton Cloud. So the set that we were just working on just now is this set number 4. And what I'm going to do is type these little 3 dots here, and we've got a little feature here saying upload to Ableton Cloud, which is a way that we can sync our sets with live and take them further. So let's upload that to the cloud. Set number 4 says it's syncing 36 seconds ago. And the beautiful thing about this is we can have, I think, up to 5 sets in the cloud. So I'm 3/5 of the way there with my 3 sets there. Let's open up live. And now I have a little thing in here in places called cloud. If I go into my preferences though, and we go down to library, show cloud option, and this is in live 11.2.5, which was released at the same time as Ableton Note. So you won't actually have this feature unless you update and actually have access to Note as well. But now we have cloud in here under places, and that's going to take a few seconds to sync. We are on Wi-Fi here, so I'll just let it do its thing. In the meantime, let's take a photo of that. That looks cool. Cool. There's my cover photo for my track. Let's rename it to org.
I like the idea of someone
Sid.
like all their sets are just really bad selfies of themselves.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of mine.
And in the meantime, oh, there it is. Lovely.
Oh, so quick.
Org Sid. Now, in the spirit of finishing tracks, I thought it might be cool to show just a little. I don't know. It's a nice technique that I actually learned from another producer recently when I was telling him about the fact that I was struggling to make tracks quicker, and regarding remixes, in that I was getting a lot of requests to do remixes, and it's a very nice feeling. It's very new for me, and when people would ask me to remix, I was like, oh my god, amazing! And then it would spend like 3 or 4 months making it, But I realised it's just not sustainable. I can't like block out 3 months of my music making sessions just for essentially someone else's, release. As much as it's a great way to get your name out there as an artist. And he was just saying that he's got a remix template. It's like, it's the same template for every remix. He says, yeah, dude, it takes me like 2 days now. Wow, it's taking me 2 months and it's taking you 2 days. I was just really impressed. And so I thought that this would be a really nice kind of thing to bring here today and show how we could potentially flesh out this track using an existing template. So if we open up this org SID project, I have the file type right here. It's an .abl bundle file, Ableton bundle file. And these can be shared around, so you can share them with your friends and like share ideas, which is really nice. What I'm going to do is just drag this entire project.
So is that like the tracks, stems? Kind of?
Yeah, so let's go over to session view. And we can probably get rid of Note for now. Let's go.
So these bundled files, are they only creatable by the Note?
Correct. Yeah, and so it's like one-way compatible kind of thing. So
yeah, okay.
files
Because
that
it
you
feels like a real cool way to like just have some stems, It would be
Yeah.
If it went the other way, that's maybe the next step for Ableton.
it's a really nice way to collaborate, I think.
We also a few of us found that we were like preparing samples for Note because it's really easy to they can't go from Live back into Note. It's really easy to airdrop samples to your phone. So we were like, if one of us had like a plane trip or something, or like we're catching the bus, you'd like send yourself a couple of samples and was like kind of preparing yourself for a Note. So yeah, Ramsey did that. I was like, it's basically trying to hack ways to like make it compatible the other way around in some way.
I was at the metro station today and listening to something and listening to the metro tram take off and go, and I was thinking what a great riser it would be.
Record it.
I will,
Voice note
have I?
it. Yeah, voice note
No,
it.
I have all these files. I'm like, I'm gonna record that. I don't know, maybe I won't. Hopefully, just one day I will have all these weird sounds, and that's how you shall know me.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I want that sound.
Anyway, I'll talk about it later.
Yeah, the kind of the compatibility back and forth. We had some interesting questions when we were first able to start talking more about this. We were like trying to see how they could hack it, and they're like, okay, what if you like opened up the file but you didn't change anything? You just like added a MIDI note or something. No, it doesn't work that way. It works one way, from Note to Live.
So it's more meant to be like sketch, not
You said it. Yeah, exactly.
not an oil painting.
I would
It's
want
where
to
ideas
finish
start.
a track on a phone. That'd be pretty awful, I think.
Depends on what you
I'd pull my hair out if I had to do all that business on a phone. It's just for the initial jamming, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really like how you can get the different automation happening. Like that's pretty powerful for such a simple thing. Isn't
I
it?
think it's like just almost just keeps the spark going when you're in that moment of being able to tweak a little bit at least, or add a few things. And someone said this the other day about like in the middle of the night when you wake up and you got this idea in your head. Does that happen to other people? It happens to me all the time. And you just like, you have to act on it straight then and there. It might be terrible, but in the moment it was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And you start humming into your phone kind of thing. That's a fantastic way to do it as well. And you can also add a little bit more to it too. That immediacy, I think, which is what this brings. It's like it's in your pockets everywhere. It's great.
Well, if you're just on the train for like 20 minutes, a lot of people would just be staring at the phone that time. You could be like making a track there.
Making tracks.
Oh yeah, I'm just like excited to have something to do instead of doing scrolling.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true, hey.
Hey Tom, can you give us any info? I don't know if this is too behind the scenes on how long this has been planned.
Well, like some of the older CTs, like people who've been, not older, people who've been certified for a longer time had heard about like an app like 8 years ago or something.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
When I told Adam, who runs
Wow.
Live School, he was like, "Oh yeah, like, so that's like it's finally happened." So
I think a lot of us were thinking it's an inevitability.
Yeah.
You know, like it makes a lot of sense. Like FL has an app and everything, but
Yeah.
there was actual plans by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I don't actually know when development started.
Yeah.
I'd have to check that out, but like the idea's been around for a while for sure.
I've had Note on my phone for over a year.
For real?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know about it until my best friend
Mm.
tagged me in something.
Right. Yeah.
It only dropped on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been keeping that a secret for a long time.
It's kind of an easy secret because it's sort of hidden away in a,
Yeah.
in a folder somewhere.
Also, the icon looks exactly like Uber.
Yeah.
I keep clicking Uber.
What's that? Nothing.
Yeah,
It's just
Uber.
It's the new Uber app. So here's all of our elements. So we've got a drum rack in here with an 808. We've got a little bouncy bass. We've got the little synth idea here. My very
So this is wrong.
spirited percussion as well, and my terrible vocal sample here, which has been put into a simpler device. So let's have a quick preview of this actually and see what it sounds like. Interesting, I've loaded this into my template, which is set at 120, so the tempo's changed, but it's also sounding really good. I'm wondering how my sample will sound actually, if that's going to change. So listen. Still sounds good. Okay, so let's get serious. I've just been playing games up until now. So look, what I'll do is I'll maybe spend 10 minutes and just kind of flesh out this track, and then we'll stop there. I think just to sort of show you, I guess, my own personal workflow and how I would develop this and take this further, and then hopefully that's like somewhat inspiring in some way. So first things first is I would change the kick. As much as I do love the 808s, what I'm going to do is just go Command F, and I've got my own kicks in here. Kick number 6 is one I've been liking at the moment. These are kicks that I just made myself, so it's just combining tails and transients. I've got my own kick which I just love, and then maybe just like tighten this up a bit. Oh, let's go in this mode. Alright, and let's highlight these clips. Let's take them over here into our beautiful little template we had. And, oh, I didn't take everything with me. I hit caps locks. That's the wrong one. I need to hit shift. There we go. Just holding down everything and hitting tab. It's a really nice and easy way to bring things over into the arrangement view. And so what I've done is just fleshed out, let's get rid of you, fleshed out a very basic arrangement here. So we've got the intro, drops into a main groove, bass comes in, then there's some sort of theme that starts, there's a variation, there's a breakdown, it builds up, there's a drop, it lifts in some way, there's an outro, and then it ends. Now this is very kind of cookie cutter dance music style arrangement. I didn't even use a reference track for this. I just kind of went off, like, DJ'd a lot of tracks in my time, and I'm just like, yeah, it's like an intro, there's a drop, something happens, the bass comes in, and I just kind of like approximated where I thought these things went. And I don't have to stick to this, but it's a good place to start. So let's go make these all the same length. Forgive me, I usually use a mouse for this and not a pad. Let's drag these out. Ooh, excuse me, let's go there. And this is, as much as it's not terribly interesting, this here is essentially a very, very boring, if we look down the bottom corner there, 7 and 20 minutes, 26-second track. It just does nothing over time. But it's a starting point, right? If we go back to my hero who was gave that talk, or the demonstration.
Who was that, if you don't mind talking?
Well, I'm actually seeing him DJ tomorrow. He's just flown into Australia. I'll leave it there. I'll leave the secrecy out there.
Like, I'm not seeing him anyway, so it's not like I'm going to speak. I mean, I can't afford
He's
it.
French.
Oh, right.
It's getting closer, maybe. All right. So let's. I'm going to drag this here because we've got the bass here. I know the bass is going to start there. What have we got here? The main synth line. I'm going to call that the theme. So let's bring you over here. What have we got? The main groove is going to come in. So maybe we could. Let's have the percussion start there. Let's call this variation where the vocal comes in. And we've got main groove. Let's Command E, split that. And let's take the kick out there. Main groove is going to drop there, and then maybe we can have a similar little break here. Let's chop that too. Let's get rid of the kick again. So I've got a couple of little variations there before the bass comes in. The main thing comes in, and there's a variation. Maybe we can take this guy and paste you in here. Variation. Then there's a breakdown, so we'll get rid of all the drums. Is this a familiar process for anyone else? Does anyone else kind of work this way?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Except I kind of work kind of backwards from that. Like I'll sort of be adding things at the beginning instead of chiseling it out. But more or less the same kind of concept.
Yeah, I mean, there's two different approaches, right? You can sort of start with your stack of clips in the side here, and then start copy and pasting as you go along, or this sort of like subtractive approach of, like Michelangelo cutting away at the marble to reveal David.
Like I would do halfway that I guess I start with some sort of percussion thing that and I work out how long I think I want it to be.
Yeah, true.
And if there's going to be those bits, the arrangement bits.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different approaches to this, but I think that in the kind of tying it all back to the whole idea of starting ideas but then turning them into finished songs, that in my own honest opinion, I think that we really overcomplicate things constantly, and we keep searching everywhere to like find the answer, but the answer is like right in front of us, always. It's always right there, and we have, I believe, all the tools that we need to do that. And there's so much focus on like finishing music, the biggest struggles, and you could go off and spend a lifetime trying to figure out how to do it, or you could get to work, be consistent, spend time on it, and just be really disciplined and focused, and I think you'll solve that problem. Let's get rid of you. Let's there kind of thing. Maybe we can stop you here. Anyway, this is certainly got a bit more work to do. But here we have a sort of a starting point, right? And like I was just talking about with the live stream, like this is a really good starting point for our track. And it's not going to be a masterpiece to begin with. One more thing I'm going to do here, and then I'll just have a quick little playthrough of this track, is grab this, let's Command F again. Command F just searches everything. So it searches all samples, all devices, everything that's on your hard drive that Live can access. It's going to search for it. I'm going to search for tree tone. Does anyone use this?
Love tree tone.
Oh,
Is that one of the plugins?
it's a Max for Live device, and kind of has a little sort of mind of its own. You can never turn this thing off. It just keeps going. But it just adds like this melodic drone in the background, which is really nice. You can choose different like tree shapes. Let's see what this one sounds like. Kind of like the first one we were on. Is it this one? This one maybe. God, we're just going to load it in again. What's the default? It sounds really nice. Alright, now let's can we zoom in? How do you do that? It's like this. Alright, let's put my screensaver on. And I'm just going to turn the scale on. And we were in the harmonic minor, so let's perhaps just go minor. I think we're in D as well. And then we've got a few more things we can play around with here, like wind, which is really interesting. Oh, super cool. Rain, how nice is this? You can mess around with the tuning a little bit. Spread. Oof.
So basically, you can cheat and do all these things that other people spend decades working on.
Let's leave that. Let's bring this down a bit. Maybe we can zoom back out again. Let's grab some reverb. So again, another really nice, just sort of shortcut. Command F, reverb, enter. Let's go down. Cool. And I'm also just going to Command F. Let's just get EQ8 as well. Enter, down, and enter. I actually want to take some of the highs off this because it's just a little bit too sparkly. Sweet. That's something to go with. Let's have a listen how this is sounding in a track. Let's get like a shaker in here too. go. That's my demo for today. Hope you enjoyed.
That's my earworm for the next week.
Yeah, look, I mean, we could obviously open this up to questions or just an open discussion.
When are you going to release that?
This track? Good question. I could finish it off actually, and we could do a project share or something.